Today we're talking about Sea of Thieves. Now for those of you here for Smite, don't worry, Smite will continue tomorrow. I have a special going on tomorrow, so that's not going away. But today I want to talk about one particular topic regarding Sea of Thieves that I keep hearing and reading about, and that I just wanted to address from my perspective with what I've gathered. A question many people have regarding Sea of Thieves is if there will be enough content. Now I don't want to be the judge of that, but I want to give you the information that is out there, because the information is very scattered on what you can actually expect after the release, what the long-term plan for development of the game is, and I kind of gathered that information to give you an overview of what we will see in Sea of Thieves in the future, what will be there on release that wasn't there in the closed beta, and how the game goes on from there. Before we even get into the content, I know that a lot of people are very uncertain about Sea of Thieves because of its price tag, and I think that's absolutely understandable. But just in case you're not aware of this, which most people aren't, Sea of Thieves is currently in the Game Pass. The Game Pass is something that you can get both on your Xbox and your PC, and it is $9.99 per month. If, however, you haven't used it yet, you can use the free trial of the Game Pass for 14 days to test the games that are in the Game Pass, meaning at the moment you will be able to test Sea of Thieves for free for 14 days. As such, you don't have to concern yourself with the price immediately. You can see for yourself if you like the game in its current state, if it has sufficient content for you, and then choose if you want to buy it or not. If you were to buy it, what can you expect? First, a little bit on the features that were not there in the last runs of the stress test and the beta, and will now be in the normal version of the game. Compared to the beta, there's a lot more going on in the game already. There are a lot more objects across the islands, there are more skeletons you can fight, and all those kinds of things. Compared to the stress test, the world feels a lot more lively, which you unfortunately can't see in the background footage yet. Contributing to this is the fact that there's also a lot more music playing in the background now, giving the game an overall nicer feel, as if the feel wasn't already nice enough. Gold skeletons, as well as shadow or ghost skeletons, will now be in the game. Gold skeletons are rumored to be vulnerable to water, so if you're tossing water at them, it should deal more damage to them, whereas ghost or shadow skeletons are vulnerable to light, so if you get out your lantern, they will at least get scared. The Kraken can also be found in the game now. It will attack players with its tentacles. It is not quite clear how much the Kraken can do yet, but we'll get back to that. While previously we already had a lot going on above the surface of the water on the islands, there is now more underwater content as well. There are shipwrecks underwater and other areas that you can explore with rewards in them. I would expect that this content will be expanded on later on as well, possibly with ways to breathe underwater and things like that. Across the world, you are now able to find tomes with info, quests, and song lyrics. Over time, you'll be able to learn more songs that you can play on your instruments as well. And then there is the whole topic of the pirate legend. If you reach a certain status with all three current factions, you will become a pirate legend. This should take quite a while, not everyone is expected to make it there immediately, so it sounds like it's a fair bit of a grind, but eventually you can reach the status, and this allows you to go into the pirate legend hideout, where you can get special quests specifically for pirate legends. That does not mean that people that aren't pirate legends can't participate in your adventures though. You will still be able to share those journeys with them. The reward is simply higher. Being a pirate legend also allows you access to special ships or special designed parts of your ships at least. And as the captain of the ship, you can then be in charge of the changes to the ship. The whole concept of the pirate legend and the captain is something that will be expanded upon in later updates. It was basically already mentioned that the first bigger update will focus on this mostly. The update schedule, by the way, is split into two different parts. There will be frequent smaller updates when features are completed, things that the developers want to throw into the game right away, whereas every few months there will be a bigger update. The first big update is planned to happen 3 months after the release. Now for some features that aren't in the game yet, but are either planned to be released at a later point or are considered to be brought into the game in one way or another. The first one is snakes. Snakes are already in the game, but there's the plan to give you a way to capture those snakes and use them as traps for yourself. This could potentially give you a way to protect your own chests on your ship, or make it much harder for other pirates to enter your ship without being punished for it. The Kraken will somehow be evolving over time. It's not exactly specified what that means, but it may mean that we will see different ways in which the Kraken attacks ships over time, and basically his combat moveset will increase with changes to him. But not only that, in the long run there are more sea monsters planned, and the Kraken won't remain the only one. For some reason I have a feeling one of them is gonna be a giant crab. The trading companies will evolve over time. It's not exactly clear what that means yet. This response came to the question if there would be some sort of economy system with the different traders, where for example a chicken could be worth more on one island than the other. But the response was a bit more vague, something about changing goods over time. We yet have to find out what exactly is behind that. It has already been confirmed that in the first big update we will see pets that can be bought through microtransaction. However, when asked if pets could also be bought through gold, the answer was that pets can definitely not be bought through gold, but there might be other ways to get them somehow. We know that legendary ships from Pirate Legends will somehow stand out. How exactly that will be the case is yet to be revealed. At a future point, it might be possible to start multiple voyages at once. This is not only a design decision, but also a technical thing that the developers just haven't fully figured out yet. There will definitely be more customization in the future in various ways. For example, while pirates will soon be able to change their hairstyle, hair color will come a little bit later. Also, more options to customize your ship will be added. Most of the changes to the ship at the moment are very general, like the sails, so more detailed changes would definitely be cool. There's also the possibility that players might be able to get custom tattoos in the future. This isn't quite certain yet. There will be more instruments. The first one that has been mentioned is a drum, which will come in the nearby future. A key feature that is already starting soon and then will be expanded upon over time are in-game events. Now, with how linear the game overall is, this is something very crucial, just giving players a new experience within the game, something that stands out from the norm, from what they're normally doing. This first event has a little bit of a tease, which is actually a riddle. The riddle is as follows. New visitors soon there may be, traveling far across the sea. Depth of night with eyes aglow, crawling the earth cast in shadow. Whatever exactly that will mean, we know it's something that is coming soon. It is not 100% certain yet if fishing will be implemented into the game, as the developers were kind of going back and forth about that one. However, knowing how many people in the community want this feature and how often it has been mentioned as something to pass the downtime when going from one island to another or just to relax in between, I am pretty certain we will see fishing sooner or later. Apparently, naming your ship with a nameplate on the side is also something that will make it into the game. There is another feature that has not officially been announced but somehow mentioned across various other websites, so I could imagine that that was maybe accidentally leaked, and that is that there could possibly be more types of weather in the game later that affect how you play. Storms already have a very drastic impact on the gameplay, where you have to get the water out of the boat and close the holes with planks all the time. So it's very likely that other kinds of weather would have a similar amount of impact. We have seen images of plant skeletons, which will most certainly make it into the game at a later point, considering that they have been fully designed and have their models already. How exactly they will work is another question. While no information here was specified, which is maybe for the better, anti-cheat programs are something that is kept an eye on. Basically, I could imagine that they won't openly talk about how exactly the anti-cheat program works, so that it's harder to abuse it. It was also already confirmed that the map will change over time. There will be adjustments, and we can probably expect a larger map later as well. So while this is currently not the case yet, that's something that's in development. There are some things that will not change though. One are safe zones. The only safe zone that exists in the game is the Pirate Legend hideout. Outside of that, there are no combat-free zones, and this is on purpose. Rare wants to keep the combat going, wants to have this constant pirate feeling where you have to worry about other players, and as such, that will just be the case forever, even though some people really want safe zones. Also, unless the game design takes a drastic change, there will be no weapon upgrades or similar things. Anything that would give you a permanent advantage over other players. You can obviously still get temporary advantages like having more bananas or having an exploding barrel, but overall the fight between a beginner and an experienced player should be equal in terms of the tools that you have. And last but not least, a few things that I'm hoping will change. I would like to see more ships per map. At the moment I think it's usually around 6 ships. This depends on how often you see other ships, as it's kind of balanced out in a way. We are supposed to see a ship every 15 minutes or so, but I hope that the bigger map will lead to more ships on the map as well and make that a little bit more interesting, have more fights between more ships at the same time, for example. And I would also hope that in the long run we get friendly duels, possibly some faction system, and maybe some sort of system that allows you to choose between a more populated server and a more calm server, depending on if you want to go for more PvE or more PvP. And with that, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this overview was interesting and insightful. If you're new to the channel, feel free to click the sub button and maybe the bell. It really helps me out. Other than that, see you for the next one tomorrow. DukeSloth, out. So I actually figured out my demonetization issue and it was my outro. As such, feel free to click any of the links around here right now. There will be new outro music as soon as I find something nice. Until then, as you guys requested, I will do the outro music myself. You're welcome.